Star Wars Tabletop Gaming is proudly supported by Gatekeeper Games, your key to gaming unplugged. A tabletop games store offering a friendly atmosphere for people to buy and play their games in the north of Fitzroy. Welcome to episode 28 of Star Wars Tabletop Gaming. In today's episode, we're going with this format where you can see my screen because we have 3 FFG articles that have come out recently that we have to catch up on and we have to talk about, and there's just too much to do dedicated videos to. So today we're going to talk about recruiting your legions. We're going to talk about preparing your troops, apparently. Sure, that's what you do with Mats. And about painting as well. The 3 articles that FFG have put out, all of which have awesome stuff in them. So let's start with recruiting your troops. So this is all about Legion organized play. A local game store community really lives or dies on organized play. And I think this is going to be fantastic. So I'm super excited with how FFG do their organized play in general, and they've taken it a step further with Legion. It's almost like they're doing some kind of monthly global campaign operation where everyone's playing the same kind of stuff. Look, we'll go through it, and we'll talk about it as we go. So essentially, it starts with the launch weekend with these kits that you get, and they're called recruitment kits. Let's have a look. So essentially, every 4 weeks, Star Wars Legion organized play revolves around a different operation. Amazing idea. Either an escalation operation or a strategic operation that leads you and your opponents through the challenges of an unfolding campaign. So we're talking about organized play in a narrative space, depending on, what releases they're putting out. I'm sure the missions will relate to it. So the 2 missions that we're seeing, let's get into it. So the recruitment kit, which should arrive early in April, leads you into your first operations with enough material to support a group of up to 8 players for the first 2 months of in-store organized play. Now, you can get multiple kits if you have more than 2 players, so don't stress. You'll ease into your first battles with the escalation operation called Gathering Forces. Wonderful. So it'll be smaller operations, I imagine, as you build up your forces and get them painted. And then apply your tactical acronym towards Operation Silent Hail, a strategic operation that opens with one side's attempts to call for reinforcement and builds towards a desperate final stand. So cool. Such cool stuff. The recruitment kit also includes 3 different ways for your local community to enjoy these operations. You can run a weekly league, which meets at a regular time each week. You can run through all 4 stages of a single operation in an epic single-day event, or you can run a rivals league. So 3 ways to play, super flexible. It means everyone's going to be able to get in and play a game in some way that leads towards these kind of really cool kits and these organized play events. So, of course, the kit comes with classic FFG swag. So we have Urabesh, Stormtrooper, and Rebel upgrades that you can see at the bottom of the page there. We'll see plenty of it, I'm sure, and tokens as well. In fact, we've got 13 Imperial Commander tokens and 13 Rebel Commander tokens that each person gets one. So imagine when all of your order tokens are blinged out in silver and gold like this. It's going to look amazing. I'm so excited for these tokens. Then you've got certificates for Best Painted Commander and Best Painted Corps. So they're really supporting the hobby and pushing the hobby side of this, which I think is great. It'd be terrible if FFG were like, look, just put some grey plastic on the table. She'll be right. What a waste. What a waste that would be. So having certificates will mean people are keen for it. And if I get some of these, you bet they're being framed and they're going right up on that wall right there. So the recruitment kit also comes with 34 extended art upgrade cards, etc., what we just talked about there. You got the custom commander tokens that are so sweet, and you get them if you participate in at least 3 of the league's games or events. So just little participation awards. You don't have to win the league to get stuff, because people are not going to win stuff all the time. It'd be such a shame to miss out on cool swag if you're not winning the event. So I like that. You can earn the Imperial Commander token during the first month's operation and the Rebel Commander token during the second month's operation. So it's keeping people sticking around. Now, this player achievements sheet that they've got a little view of here is really cool as well. So you're getting points as you go. They're all leading up towards major achievements at the end. Just clever stuff. They've just really thought about this and done a great job. So that's pretty much all of it. So I'm super excited about organized play. After these, what are they called? Recruitment kits. We're then going to see the ground assault kits, which will come out later on and will kind of bring up bigger matches, I imagine, and more intense games and more intense swag as well. So well done, FFG. I think your organized play model looks awesome and I can't wait to get into it. So that is recruiting your legions. let's have a look at preparing your troops. So these have been a bit controversial. We have FFG's attempt at some Legion gaming mats. So they've gone with two designs, two 3x3 foot designs that you're intended to then kind of attach in a bunch of different ways. If you want to create a different looking battlefield, to create that 6x3. So by going with two 3x3s, they've let you not only have a smaller battle without any issues, without having kind of that mat overlap, but they've also allowed you to turn them around in different ways so that you can play on a different battle each time. Now, what they have done, as you can see there, and as we'll go to the bigger pictures, is put quite a bit of detail into them. Here we've got what looks like a crashed TIE fighter. You've got an ATST hull kind of poking out from the dunes there. You've got a bunch of scrap. You've got ATSD footprints, which I actually think are really cool. And you've got these kind of rocky hills all over the place. Now, traditionally, the mats that I've bought don't have that much detail on them, and that's what people tend to prefer. Because, I mean, it's about the realism. Now, remember, we're playing with tiny little plastic figurines, so I say realism glibly. But essentially, the idea is that you want a pretty generic map that you can then chuck terrain onto. But you've got to remember that not all gamers are going to have lots of terrain. And kind of these 2D details and 2D bits of terrain on the map that are already there are actually going to be enough for some people. So some people are going to count like those rocky areas as difficult terrain. Same, the hills. Maybe, certain areas give you cover that's already printed on the map. And now you don't need to spend hours and hours making your own terrain, which for me would be a shame because I love terrain and I thoroughly enjoy putting what I've got together so far. But for a lot of people, they just don't have the time. And if they want to play a quick match at home, chuck some barricades down, and this is going to get the job done, and it's going to look awesome. So I can see both sides of the argument, but I think these mats are pretty good. I don't think I'll be going down that route, but I can understand for those that are casual gamers that just want to play a game at home and have it look cool. I think these are a great idea. So that's one, and then we've got the second mat here, which is awesome. It's kind of like looks like a podium kind of thing going on. It's got steps leading up to that circled area where you've got that symbol. Is that the Force users symbol or the Jedi symbol? Unsure. I should really do my research, shouldn't I? But either way, that looks pretty cool. What else? You've got, little pillars that have fallen down, bit of ruin. Awesome. So it looks cool. People can treat that as difficult terrain if they want. Or you know what? Get the mats and put a bit of terrain on top of that. Use that as the base, put some walls around it, and now you've got a cool looking base for just what were some walls. So there's plenty of stuff you can do. There are a lot of haters for these mats, which I think is a little rough. I think they're definitely going to have a use, especially for casual gamers. So look, they're all right. Good on you, FFG, for trying new things and getting some mats out there as well. You may as well. You've got a license to print money with Star Wars IP at the moment. Make sure you're using it. All right, and finally we've got Get Started Painting Star Wars Legion. So this is an article which is quite in-depth and it's quite long and it talks about a whole bunch of painting stuff. So here we've got a look at kind of the different steps that you go through getting a miniature to this tabletop standard over here. Pretty good standard, let's not be too rough. If I'm painting mine like them, I'll be more than happy. So, but look, you can definitely take it a little further. But it talks about your assembly tools. So FFG have realized that they're going to get a lot of people crossing over from X-Wing into Legion. And a lot of people coming from having never played a miniatures game before to Legion. And people have never done hobby ever because they've got Star Wars. And people love Star Wars and will play all kinds of interesting things and take leaps and bounds in their gaming world to play different Star Wars games. So FFG have recognized that and they've released this article which goes quite in depth in how to put together, paint, do hobby. So what's really cool here is that it says plastic cement will not cause the pieces to bond properly as they're made of plastics that's incompatible with plastic cement. Because if you know anything about hobby, you'll realize that most plastic glue is actually polystyrene plastic glue, and Legion is made up of different types of plastic for their miniatures. White glue or other adhesives do not dry quickly enough. Essentially, we recommend super glue. So FFG are already getting ahead of the curve and making sure that people do not make mistakes with their hobby by just reading this simple article. I highly recommend it, even if you are a hobbyist, because Legion, as per the glue you saw there, does things a little differently to maybe you were using GW plastics previously. It talks about cleaning them up. Use your hobby knife to trim away excess plastics. That's your flash and your mold lines. Very good. Thanks, FFG. Slightly bent components. It talks about using hot water to make those straight. Once again, really simple hobby stuff that people who have never hobbied before simply don't know. So I think that's awesome. There we go. His lightsaber is nice and straight now. All right, priming tools talks about using primers. Once again, people that have never painted, they will pick up paint and just paint it onto bare plastic because they don't understand what priming does. How would they? FFG, good job, thank you. Different types of brushes, what they're used for, how to clean them and care for them properly. Wonderful. The difference between paints and washes. This is all stuff that the people are going to learn as they get into it. But now FFG are front loading you with the information. So these paints are very watery. This is the shades and washes here. The shades and washes are often regarded as giving the most dramatic and effective results and should certainly be part of your painting arsenal. Yes, they should. They allow you to paint so easily and they make stuff look so good. So look, well done FFG. Thanks for putting this hobby article out. I think it's excellent. Hopefully it encourages people to actually delve deep into the hobby side and not just put out their grey plastic miniatures on a table, because the hobby is going to be such a huge part of this game, and I highly recommend trying painting if you've never tried it before. I'll be doing a bunch of tutorials, I'm sure, but there's already some great stuff out there. Sarastro obviously being the best example of some really detailed and good techniques, but there's really simple ones as well of, your 5 to 15 minute stormtrooper of just doing a whole bunch of dry brushing with white. It may not be the best piece of art we've ever seen, but certainly something that's been dry brushed and washed and chucked on the table looks a whole lot better than grey plastic. So those are the 3 articles we've got recently from FFG. They are ramping up the information with our release, which is only a few days away now. Super excited. I'm all pumped for my midnight release on Wednesday. Got my first game in. That's up on YouTube as well. It's not perfect, but it gets the job done. I'll change up my design and my kind of format for the battle reports in future to see if that flows more easily. But thank you very much for watching. Get in there, read the articles. Hopefully you've learnt something. And until next time, may the Force be with you.